Hey everyone, it's Alora, and today I am going to be filming my completed book series video. Now, I've done a couple of videos in the past week or so which have been a little bit embarrassing, like series I haven't finished yet and series I haven't even started yet and things like that. Right now at university I am coming upon finals week. All of those big, huge, gnarly papers are due and my life feels like I took a deck of cards and threw it up in the air and oh look, 52 piece of your life, pick up. A bit like that. I need a little bit of support here, so I'm gonna give myself another pat on the back and film a series that I've already completely read video. Maybe that'll make me feel a little better about life. Now, the first series that I want to talk about is the Red Rising series by Pierce Brown. I read this within the last 2 years, Red Rising, and then Golden Sun, and then finally this huge monster, Morning Star. These are sci-fi books that follow Darrow as he rises up from being a red. I know, I'm very original today. And he becomes this great warrior and it becomes very involved politically in this intergalactic, I don't know if intergalactic is right, it's interplanetary ruling system and this class system. It's very hierarchical and it was really fun, very fast-paced and enjoyable to read, so moving on. The next series here is The Fifth Wave by Rick Yancey. This is a YA dystopian series, I'm sure most people know about it, where there are aliens and the world is ending, etc, etc. So I read The Fifth Wave right after it came out, and then I read each subsequent book, The Infinite Sea and The Last Star, as they came out. So I was immediately caught up with this series. I was on top of this series. It was great. Very rare, but great. Next I'm going to kick it back with the Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling. I read these as a young child. I started when I was, I think, 5 years old and then read them as they came out with my family. And for those of you who are curious, my favorite one is number 3, The Prisoner of Azkaban. Let me know down in the comments below if you have a favorite Harry Potter. Also, I recently read the illustrated edition, which was done by Jim Kay, and that was a very fun thing to do, so I think I'm going to try to read those as they come out once a year. Another old school series that I want to briefly mention is the Twilight series. There is not really much to say about this other than the fact that I was a young teenager. Sorry. Embarrassingly enough, I actually read those more than once. More than twice. Should I say that on camera? Another slightly controversial, maybe not proud series to have read is Divergent by Veronica Roth. So I did read Divergent, Insurgent, and Allegiant. By the way, when is the third movie coming out, or the fourth movie? The second part of the third movie? When is that going to be released? Does anyone know? The next one is a bit of a cheat, but not really, because it's a duology, and so I did technically complete the series even though there were only 2 books in the series, and that is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I'm only holding up Six of Crows, not the second one, because I listened to the second book on audio. These are fantastic. I would absolutely recommend them if you haven't heard of them, which I'm sure you've heard of them. If you haven't heard of them, they're about this gang, this kind of crew of people in this Venice-like locale, and they have to perform a heist. And it's really fun and fantastic. The characterization is on point. It is excellent. I would absolutely recommend this. Definitely superior, in my opinion, to her Grisha series. But I can't really have a full opinion on the Grisha trilogy because I haven't read the frickin' 3rd book yet. I'm going to take us back to another classic of my childhood, and that is the Uglies series by Scott Westerfeld. This was one of the very first dystopian series that I read, and I adored it. It will always have a place in my heart. I loved it so much. I don't know how I would feel about the series if I read it now. I bet I would still enjoy it though. It's hard to tell. I don't really want to reread it because I think it might spoil some of the nostalgia that I have from childhood. But there's Uglies, the second one is Pretties, which I listened to on audiobook, and then the third one is Specials, and then the fourth one, which I didn't really enjoy the fourth one because it didn't follow the same characters, but the fourth one is called Extras. I was even so nerdy and loved this series so much that I bought Bogus to Bubbly, which is an insider's guide to the world of uglies. It's actually pretty fun. I'm gonna change things up a little bit here with a contemporary series. That is Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins. I really want this lady to write some more books, right? She's great. These books were so heartwarming and lovely and just so fun to read. They were really enjoyable. They are cheesy. They're uber cheesy, but they're also really great and fun and enjoyable. So I would recommend them for sure. There's Anna and the French Kiss, Lola and the Boy Next Door, and Isla and the Happily Ever After. I think this one might actually have been my favorite. Next, I'm going to be bringing it back to some adult sci-fi. I'm not really sure what order these books are in. They're in some sort of order, not really alphabetical, not really by genre. Anywho, I read the Wool series by Hugh Howey. I would so recommend these books to anyone who likes sci-fi-ish, dystopian type books. This is a fantastic series. Hugh Howey is great. I really enjoyed them. They are very dense, very thick. Wool is the first one, and then there's Shift, and then Dust. Hugh Howey did manage to publish this through an actual publishing company, but then the second two, I believe he just self-published, so it's kind of tricky getting your hands on them. I think you can get them through Amazon though. The back says, "What would you do if the world outside was deadly and the air you breathed could kill? And you lived in a place where every birth required a death, and the choices you made could save lives or destroy them." So good. It's so good. Maybe I should do a recommendations video on my favorite sci-fi books. I'm not huge into sci-fi, but there are definitely some that I love. The next is another series of books that I read in my childhood, and that is Inkheart by Cornelia Funk. These books are so magical, and the writing is just fantastical, and they pull you into the world, and it's beautiful and wonderful, and I would absolutely recommend them. I read them when I was probably 12 through 15, something like that, as they came out. So the first one is Inkheart, and then there's Ink Spell and Ink Death. Cornelia Funk is a German author, and her works have been translated into English, but whoever does the translation does a phenomenal job. If you haven't read this book because you're judging it based upon the movie, please don't do that. The books are infinitely better. Another series that I read as a kid was the Dragonspell series. I don't have all of the books here. I mean, I do, but there are a bunch of books and they're all mixed in, and I just am feeling lazy by this point, honestly. The protagonist's name in this book is Kale. She's a young girl. There are dragons, there's romance, there's adventure, all sorts of wonderful, fun, adventure-y things. Alright, we're nearing the end of my list of completed book series. The next one that I'm going to hold up is a bit of a proxy book. Wow. Dropping everything today. For the Lunar Chronicles series, because I listened to all of these on audiobook, which I would absolutely recommend. Rebecca Soler, who narrates them, is very fun to listen to. She's great at vocalization and having different character voices. Fantastic, very fun. So yeah, the Lunar Chronicles, as I'm sure you're aware, are kind of a mix of fairy tales and sci-fi, and it's very fun. The characters are great. My favorite one was Cress, but Winter was incredible. By the fourth book, the way that Marissa Meyer had tied everything together and lined it up so that we could arrive at the perfect ending was masterful. It was great. These are so much fun, and if you've just read Cinder and weren't super into it, try continuing on, because each story does build on the previous story and they become more involved and more fun. And the final series in this video that I have completed is the Shatter Me series by Tahara Mafi. Books are definitely guilty pleasure reads. There's a lot of romance in them. There's a little bit of dystopian. There's definitely some kick-ass female girl power in it, and it's great. I think the two main reasons that someone would read the series are, one, the romance, and two, the writing style. Tahara Mafi uses a sort of stream of consciousness style, and it's very free-flowing, and sometimes words are crossed out, and it's very unique and fun and lyrical, and I would absolutely recommend them if you don't mind a lot of romance. The first one is Shatter Me, and then we have Unravel Me. There's a series of novellas that's called Unite Me, and then there's Ignite Me, and I just want to say that these covers are absolutely phenomenally gorgeous. I adore them so much. Definitely the reason why I picked them up to begin with. Okay, well that's all I have for you today. Those are all of the series that I've read from start to finish. They have been completed, and I can give myself a gold star and a pat on the back and feel really good about myself. I do feel a little better about myself having gone through all of those series, to be honest. Anyways, I hope that you are having a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and until next time, stay happy, stay healthy. Bye guys.